The Lions injury report a little better today than it was yesterday, so Taylor Decker doesn't practice, DJ Reader doesn't practice, but Carlton Davis and Emmanuel Mosley, two of their corners, both logging full practices, but a bunch of players on IR on the front seven, defensive line and linebackers, obviously for Detroit, not a great situation. Femi, I think I agree with you that if this ever hits 3 minus 110, I'll be interested in Detroit, but I think I need a little more time to sleep on. I think I might end up leading the show talking about this game tomorrow with the Lions and the Packers. A huge high-leverage game. I don't know if I'm ready to give a strong opinion yet. If I had to do something right now, I think I'm in line with you to lay Detroit when the number comes all the way down. Worth noting, Drew Dinsick was on our show yesterday. We respect Drew. He's really sharp. His favorite bet was Green Bay in this game against Detroit. So interesting. They played at Lambeau like a month ago. Detroit did win. Won by 10. That was a pretty evenly matched game. The difference was fourth downs and third down conversions. The Lions converted all of theirs. Green Bay basically converted none of theirs. So a lot more on this game tomorrow and obviously on Thursday. All right, let's turn our attention to Sunday now. Titans and the Jaguars in Tennessee. Titans, Femi, a 3.5-point home favorite, total 39.5. I said it to start the show. I don't think this point spread should be above 3. At 3.5, I like the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time on this one. Will Levis laying 3.5. I'm never going to be attracted to that. I'm going to go ahead and like the opposite side. Even though Mac Jones is terrible, give me the Jaguars plus 3.5. But I don't even want to bet it right now because it might even go up to 4 because there's a pretty sharp offshore sportsbook that has 4 minus 105. So I think we wait and we bet Jacksonville.
I like a lot of games this week. I don't have a strong read on this next one. Maybe you do. It's my horrendous New York football Giants. We don't know who the Giants quarterback is going to be. We don't know if it's Tommy DeVito. We don't know if it's Drew Lock. The Giants host Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. Saints coming off the loss on Sunday to the Rams. The Giants off the Thanksgiving loss in Dallas to the Cowboys. So Giants with extra rest. Saints a 5-point road favorite. Total is 40.5.
I think that this is just kind of right. Like Saints should be in like the dead zone at 5 or 4.5 in that range. Obviously, the Dexter Lawrence injury is devastating for this Giants front. He's like the only good player they have on the team,
out for
pretty
the
much.
Season. Good job, Rhett.
Out for the season. Yep. Yeah, it's a brutal injury. But if it gets to 6, I mean, like you're paying a heavy tax if you lay that number. But I also don't want to bet the Giants. I think I'm going to pass the game. But at 6, you start to have that conversation. Is it Big Blue at plus 6? But right now, it's a pass.
Yeah, I think it's a pass for me as well. Honestly, if I had to bet the game, I actually think I'd lay New Orleans at this number. The Giants might just be, I need to think about it a little more. I know I've said that a couple times here in the segment. I like a lot of games this week. There are only a couple where I'm going to say I need to think about it a little more. The Giants might just be such a dead team walking that how could you just bet the other side? I'm not ready to make that bet yet, but I would never bet
Who's
the Giants.
Starting?
Not at these numbers. We don't know yet.
No, there we go. DeVito or Lock?
Does it matter?
Nation waits.
Like, seriously, doesn't
I think Lock's
matter.
better. I think Lock's better.
Is he?
He'll at least throw the ball down the field.
I guess he's better. I mean, I don't know how much better he is, but he's probably better. Well, what a low bar. All right. Steelers and the Browns in Pittsburgh. These two teams obviously played a couple weeks ago on Thursday night. Steelers closed 3.5 in that game on the road in Cleveland. Browns won outright. So now we flip home field. And Pittsburgh's a 6.5-point favorite here against the Browns. Femi, the total is 43.5. Pittsburgh off the win in Cincy on Sunday, and Cleveland on the loss last night to Denver.
Yeah, this one, I mean, stop me if you heard this before. I kind of lean towards an under in a Jameis Winston game, which can always be very, very dangerous. But I don't think I want to lay these numbers. Like, I wouldn't take the 6.5, but I don't want to lay 6.5 with Pittsburgh off of a big win against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm passing the side, and I have to think more about the total because I just went through that experience last night, betting an under in a Jameis Winston game, and there was like 70-plus points scored. So we got to give it a little bit more time on this game.
I actually think the number's short.
You gonna lay it?
I might. I think the right number in this game is 7. I think the Steelers should be a full 7-point favorite in this game against the Browns. I'm not ready
Cleveland
to
took
click
money
the
this
button
morning.
yet. Yeah, so I think it was 7, right? And it got bet off 7. Yep. If I had to bet this game right now, this is not Cleveland for me, not at this number. At 7, it's probably a pass. I have to decide if I want to click the button on the Steelers or not. So no bet yet on this game. But as of now, this is Steelers or nothing for me. And we'll see how the injury reports, like what comes out tomorrow. But right now, this is looking like a Steelers or nothing for me. Move on. Super Bowl. What Super Bowl is this? Super Bowl 37. Super Bowl 37 rematch. Shout out to my old my old coworker, Rich Gannon, the great Rich Gannon. Tampa Bay.
Good dude.
The best dude. Great guy. Tampa Bay hosting the Las Vegas Raiders as the Bucs continue to get a massive amount of credit in market. Tampa, a 7-point home favorite against Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders. Raiders with a little extra rest playing on Black Friday against the Chiefs. Tampa laying 7. Total here is 46.
Yeah, what I'll say is that I would never lay this number because we also don't know like the percentage that Baker Mayfield's going to be at. Now, he's going to play in the game is what he said, but he had that injury. Is he 70%? Is he 85%?
And he got
what
cleated.
Is he?
He got cleated
Yes.
on Sunday, which sounds
Yeah.
horrible when you use that as a verb, cleated. Got stepped on, basically,
Definitely.
his leg.
Yeah, they thought he tore his Achilles. That's how bad it was. But luckily for him, he did not. But he's going to be at least somewhat compromised in the game. We'll obviously see the injury report starting tomorrow. This is Raiders. It's Antonio Pierce, big number. The Raiders offense, they keep spamming Brock Bowers, which is a really good strategy to do. And Tampa's defense, a little bit leaky. We saw Carolina have a lot of success there. I think the Raiders keep this close. I think +7, if you can find it, is a bet on the silver and black.
I think I agree. I was hoping we were going to get a 7.5. Doesn't look like we will. So this was yesterday, like 7 minus 15 to Tampa. I thought we were going to go up to 7.5. Now we're just 7 minus 110. It's never Tampa for me. It's Raiders or nothing. So I have to decide if I want to click the button or not. I'm not there yet, but I do agree with Femi. Raiders or nothing as it stands right now. We're making tremendous time here on these games.
Yeah,
Only
baby.
a couple more for us to hit.
It's the
Let's
music
go
that
to.
does
It might be. Let's go to the Seahawks and the Cardinals in Arizona. Just a huge game for the NFC West. Seattle wins this game. They sweep Arizona in the head-to-head. I don't know if that buries Arizona in the NFC West, but I mean, if Seattle wins this, it's a huge step forward for the Seahawks to maybe win this division. Arizona, a juiced 2.5-point home favorite. The total's 44.5. When these two teams played a couple weeks ago in Seattle, the Cardinals closed a 1-point road favorite there. Femi, any thoughts here? Bets, Seahawks and Cardinals.
So yeah, this feels like a bet your opinion game to me because when I thought about the game, I felt that Arizona under a field goal was the right number in this game. And that's where we sit right now at 2.5. And there's clear interest in Seattle whenever we get to 3. That's happened a couple of times, and boom, we're right back down to 2.5. But I just do not like the spot for Seattle. Like the Seahawks should have lost last week. Obviously, they've been now ripping off these wins. They beat the Cardinals, then they beat the Jets. This just feels like a sell high spot on Seattle. And last week did as well, and they probably should have lost the game, but they played the New York Jets. And I think with Arizona coming off a heartbreaker, I actually think the Cardinals bounce back. Bet your opinion. Like, I make the game 2.5. It's 2.5. But betting my opinion, I think I would actually land with the Cardinals and lay that number.
I think it's Arizona for me as well in this game. I
think it's a good sell high spot on Seattle.
I mean, do you mean sell high just like in general? Because like the point spread's like just about right, I think.
Yeah.
You just mean like in general.
Just general. Yeah, like the momentum that they've been carrying in. Like they played a game they should have lost. They still found a way to win it. They beat the Cardinals, which kind of started this like kind of post-bye week stretch after beating the 49ers. I think they lose.
I think I agree with you. So this is Arizona or nothing. At 3, I have no interest. 2.5, I'd consider betting the Cardinals. How does Seattle teased up lose as a teaser leg? Seattle plus 8.5.
Seems like it doesn't.
Right? I'm trying to think like
Seems like it doesn't lose.
Is there a good leg to pair?
Like what are you?
with?
Yeah.
So let's see.
I don't see another long
teaser.
teaser leg on the board. It's not a good week for teasers, guys.
You could.
Listen.
I mean, you could do it. You could tease like the Saints
Wanna get
through
crazy?
0, which is terrible. Really bad. Maybe
Saints +1.
Maybe a teaser leg will emerge at some points. We'll see. Oh, it looks like right now, by the way, the Raiders 7 is getting bet. This might go down to 6.5. What do you have on the board there? There's like impromptu mini and moved here.
I see a couple of 7s right now. There's 1 7 minus 110, but there's a pretty sharp book that's near me. 7 even money. I'm seeing 6.5s though, pretty much across the board. 6.5 is the new consensus number. So if you like it, bet MGM.
I am going to, while Femi is talking about this next game, bet Raiders 7 at BetMGM. So again, like to everyone listening live right now, watching live, if you don't have to like the Raiders.
Yeah.
Honestly, like even if you don't like the Raiders, you should maybe make this bet to capture a really valuable number. I'm going to place a bet on Raiders +7. I like it, and it looks like it's going away. I make the game. Not that I'm like God's gift to NFL point spreads. I'm not. I think the game is less than 7. So I like the Raiders. I'm gonna bet this in a few moments once Femi's talking about the next game. So Seahawks teaser leg. I do think it's a close game. If I had to bet the game, I'd actually lay the Cardinals. I think Arizona wins a close game. Sunday Night Football. Chiefs and the Chargers. Kansas City. Little extra rest. Black Friday win. It should have been a loss. Maybe should have lost by a lot to the Raiders with the Carlson missed kicks.
They got dominated.
They got wrecked in the game and still somehow managed to win. Kansas City, a 4-point home favorite against the Chargers team. You want to talk about fraudulent wins? Honestly, the Chargers beating the Falcons in Atlanta might have been more fraudulent than the Chiefs beating the Raiders, and both were fraudulent. KC laying 4. Total is 43. Sunday Night Football at Arrowhead.
And that's where I'm curious to see where the conversation goes with this game, because there's so much talk about, are the Chiefs lucky? Are the Chiefs frauds? Are the Chiefs like all this? And yeah, like they're the two-time defending Super Bowl champion. They're going to get a lot of the conversation. But we could ask those same questions about the Chargers win last Sunday. Like Nick just outlined it. I don't think the Chargers converted a first down in the second half. Like they got dominated, but Kirk Cousins kept throwing them the football, so they hung on and won the game 17-13. But it was not an impressive Chargers game, which is why I actually think the betting market, when this got down to 3.5, like I was texting back and forth with Nick Sunday night saying, God, I hope we can get 3. I would lay the 3. But I think a lot of people saw what we saw with the Chargers box score and said, we're not falling for it. We're going to lay the 3.5 with KC, which is why we sit here at 4. But even at 4, I still kind of lean towards Kansas City. Not my favorite bet, not a bet that I'm in love with, not one I'm going to go crazy with, but I feel like just a little bit something on the Chiefs. I think they actually go up and they show out in primetime because they've been hearing all of the talk about how they're frauds and they play all these close games. I think at least for 1 week, we see a really good offensive performance and a good defensive performance. I think they beat the Chargers by like a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm with you that if I had to bet the game, I would lay Kansas City. We both were hoping that we would get a 3 with the Chiefs, and it looks like that's not happening at this point.
Blame the Chargers.
It's only Kansas City. No bet on the game just yet, but only Kansas City coming up on Sunday night. On the total, like under.
It's already been bet down. 44.5, now 43.
And
even
I
a 42.5.
I think this is my concern with the Chargers in this game. You know, for a lot of the season, the Chargers' offensive line was awesome. They got wrecked. It's one thing to get wrecked by the Ravens. Like, that's one thing. They got wrecked. Like, the Falcons were the worst pass rush in the league going into this past Sunday. Justin Herbert was on his ass the entire game. Like, that's troubling. That's troubling now going up against Chris Jones and the Kansas City front. I think Herbert may be in for a world of it coming up on Sunday night.
Yeah, here comes Steve Spagnuolo and Chris Jones getting him matched up on a guard that has no business blocking him one-on-one. Like, yeah, I could see this with the crowd noise and everything. Really, really bad. But, like, we'll talk about this not next week. Tomorrow on Wednesday, high leverage for awards. Like, high leverage for a lot of awards. This game has implications for MVP, Coach of the Year. All that stuff is involved. But also, the wild card race, maybe Denver runs down the Chargers for the 6th seed.
They play in a couple weeks on Thursday night, the Broncos and Chargers.
They do. In LA, but like they do play, and the Broncos are playing much better than they did when they played in Denver when the Chargers like shellacked them. So I think it's a really, really high leverage game that I can't wait to watch. I just lean towards Kansas City, and I have a feeling that the 3.5s might come back to us just because the more recreational money gets into the market throughout the week, everyone's going to be looking to go ahead and take the 4 with the Chargers, who are a really good team. Like, we are a pro-Chargers show, but just all of the conversation about Kansas City.
Well, you can be. I don't know if I am anymore.
I have over 8.5 win total, so I'm pro-Chargers until at least they get to 9.
I would think you'll get there at this point at 8-4. I'm not trying to jinx it for you, but it feels like that's probably
please do not.